Hey friend, welcome to She Said podcast, a top-rated global career and personal development podcast with a unique focus on helping you create more influence in your life. My name is Laura Cox Kaplan, and I've seen firsthand the impact that effectively mastering and really using influence can have. I created this podcast to help us dig deeper into the different dimensions that help us build and sustain influence. And each week, I'm drawing on this incredible community of women to help us do just that. Whether you're navigating a career or life pivot, maybe starting a business or raising money for a special cause, or just trying to connect with folks who don't share your views, understanding and using the different dimensions of influence will not only increase your chances of success, but will leave you happier and better positioned to have the impact that you hope to have. I look forward to hearing your thoughts and feedback and how you think about influence in your life. Hey friend, welcome to the podcast. Have you ever found yourself longing for or searching for a group or a network that really helps support your business goals? Maybe you're looking for something that can give you encouragement and inspiration and also tactical advice on next steps to take in your career or business. Now, these sorts of groups can be incredibly hard to find, and also finding ones that are a good fit for you. While podcasts like this one can be great resources, and I sure hope that you are consistently finding that to be the case here, but nothing takes the place of direct personal connection for really brainstorming ideas and for getting perspective from others. It is one of the things that I loved so much about last week's live episode. That was, of course, the in-person event that I co-hosted with personal brand expert, my friend, Tamara Edwards. But this week, as part of our continuing holiday series, I'm sharing a great addition to the holiday lineup, and it really builds so beautifully with this idea of connection and collaboration and creating, and how those concepts are absolutely essential for building and sustaining influence in your life and career. My guest is the incredibly fabulous and completely lovely Lydia Menzies. She is the creator and founder of a company called Lydia Menzies Celebrates. Her company and all of the experiences that she creates as part of that is built on the concept of not only the importance of celebrating and gathering, but of the power of generous collaboration, connection, and hospitality. Honestly, friend, it would be quicker to refer to Lydia as party planner extraordinaire, but that does not begin to describe what she does or how she approaches her work. Planning the perfect celebration for Lydia is a layered experience that at its core is really about how to create a true and lasting connection. Her approach is very inspiring. As a member of Lydia's very special membership group, which is called the Supper Club, I have been so inspired by not only what she's created, but also how she has attracted members and the thoughtful approach that she takes to supporting and encouraging those members, both personally and professionally. And you will hear that in this conversation. But I want to highlight just a few themes that you're going to hear. Increasingly, folks are struggling with what to do when your work or your creative idea is either stolen or copied or used without attribution. We talk about some experiences there. We get Lydia's advice, and we also talk about the importance of offering a clear solution when this happens. We talk about how we are influenced by those around us and why that matters. We also talk about why values can matter when collaborating and picking collaboration partners. We talk about how Lydia started the Supper Club. We talk about the role that confidence plays in supporting others. We talk about the importance of learning to recognize our unique gifts. And we talk about the power and importance of really finding ways to embrace creative pursuits. Friend, there is a lot packed in here, and I think you can't help but be inspired by Lydia's approach to collaboration and to creating opportunities that actually help others to succeed. You will find links to Lydia's website and to the Supper Club in the show notes for this episode. It's episode 275. Lydia, welcome to She Said, She Said.
Thank you, Laura. I'm so excited to be here with you.
Well, I am so excited to have you. It is the perfect conversation at the perfect time of the year to talk to my favorite party planner, but you are much more than that. So I want to start this conversation by really diving into your philosophy behind entertaining, creating these experiences. Talk to us about kind of how you approach an event.
Well, thank you. And I love that you dive into influence because we are all under the influence of something, right?
Right.
And so I think we just have to choose wisely about where our influence, how it's powerful, and we have to decide how to use it, and we have to realize the importance of it. And it's something that is, on a daily basis, we really are under the influence, and so everything we come into contact with is something that influences us, whether we know it or not.
And for better
And
or worse, right?
for better or worse. And so you do have to, just like choosing your friends wisely, you have to choose, everything that you decide to kind of jump into. And so my, as the people would say, love language is to host other people, whether it's parties, official parties, or just, gatherings, or just in my daily routine. I always feel like I am able to influence them in some way that is a positive thing for them, so that way, that whether I'm in a store and I say hello to people, or whether I'm opening my front door to people who I'm hosting in my home officially, that feeling that you give them is really important to me, so that I am careful to notice, and I hope that I can encourage others to notice that and be aware. I think often people internalize the fact that they are being influenced more than realizing how much influence and impact they can have on others. And that's what I bring to it, whether it's a party. And if you take the party side of it, that's structured, you have the thought that goes into the planning of every detail. For me, I think of it as, how can I make this the best experience for my guests, rather than what can I show off and what can I, share with them that makes me look good.
Yeah.
So I like to flip that. And I think a lot of times if you approach it that way, you have much better results, because that is truly what it means to be hospitable and to invite people into your world. And you want to leave them feeling better about the experience and themselves. I am really big on trying to help other people see their strengths, and then trying to amplify those strengths for them. And so a lot of times, just for instance, we recently had Thanksgiving, and instead of people going around the table and telling what they were thankful for, I just sort of took the lead, because that gets awkward sometimes.
Yeah.
I just kind of took the lead and said, this is what I'm thankful for. And I see this in each person at the table. And that was my way of letting them know that I am thankful for them, but also leaving them with that little nugget of, extra confidence that I see what you're doing and I see how it's affecting others, and keep going with that. Like you try to find the right part of somebody and continue to amplify that, so that they can give their gifts that they've been given to others as well, and without even knowing it. A lot of times people will say, leave your shoes at the door or whatever. Well, I like to say, leave your judgment at the door. Because it's one of those things, that judgment is something that is great to have. It keeps us safe and all of that. But for some reason, we humans have taken it down a notch to judge others in ways that maybe are not productive, and they actually, they don't really they're not there's nothing positive about judging the trivial parts of a person. So, as you come and you enter someone's home, I just always say, I try to preach that in my classes that I do and things, that leave your judgment out the door, whether that's the hostess, the host, the home, the baseboards, all those things. Like, just don't bother with that. But look at what you admire, because really that's find the things that you admire, and then tell them what you like and what you enjoy seeing, rather than the opposite. So if party dresses. Ladies love to see what each other is wearing. We love to see, because we're drawn to that creative side. We love the fashion, and that's a natural thing. So look for what you admire,
Mm.
and then go and say, "Oh my goodness, that dress looks fabulous on you. That's, your hair is amazing tonight." It's okay to compliment people, and it's not being shallow that you're just looking at their shell. It's just being realistic that yes, we are drawn to beautiful things or things that intrigue us. And so compliment that, rather than looking at it and, "Ugh, I can't believe Dolly wore that on stage." So find the good thing, and like, that's fabulous that she had the courage to do that and the confidence.
Right.
And so it's really important to me that I express that, or that I live that, and that I show that, and that I encourage that, because I just think that we don't even realize the gifts that we've been given. I think people don't look at themselves and see the strengths they have. And so I have this group called the
Mm.
Supper Club that I work with ladies and gentlemen who I see so many strengths. I see so many gifts. And if I can just get them to see it, and then we take it to that next level and put it out there for them to grow, that makes me feel like we're really progressing and going somewhere with it. It makes everybody feel better. They can see their gifts. And I think a lot of times it's hard to admit your strengths, you
Mhm.
know? I know for me growing up, it was considered polite to not talk about yourself, impolite to ever, look at me. And so you have to find a way, because no one really wants to hear a
Mm.
bragger. You have to find a way and admit to yourself that, yeah, I am good at this. And that was one of the hardest things for me, really, was to be able to go, okay, I am good at this. And if I take this and use it and funnel it, channel it into the right direction, it can be helpful for others. And that's exactly how I started my businesses. And what I mean, it's that thread that you just have to realize you have woven through your whole life, and then you have to take it and use it.
Yeah. I love that. I absolutely love that. So I'd love for you to dive in a little deeper to, you just mentioned the supper club. I am a proud member of your supper club, even though I don't get to join you as much as I would like. But I'd love for you to talk to my audience, especially to folks listening who may be aspiring entrepreneurs like you, and how you took this beautiful philosophy that you have just outlined, and this real spirit of generosity that's not just about the holidays. It's every day of your life, 24/7, 7 days a week. Talk about how you took that philosophy and created your business, of which the Supper Club is one piece of that. I know you do some other things, but talk about what the Supper Club is and how you're really sort of curating and helping people collaborate with each other in addition to connecting.
I think confidence is at the core of so much. And if we can build our confidence in our abilities, then I think that is just like the very good the strongest foundation that you can have for helping others go forward and progress. And so I'm one of those people who, as a kid, for example, when I was in the second grade, someone stole my Hershey bar. And I love those were my favorite things on earth, was a Hershey bar. My mom sent me one to school, and a kid named Wayne stole it. My teacher, sorted all that out and got it back for me. But my inclination, I said to the teacher, was, "Well, I'm happy to share half of it with him." And she said, "No, no, Lydia. No, no, no. Like, we can't reward him for stealing your Hershey bar, I didn't have, but that is like, as a 7-year-old child, that was who I was. Like,
Mm.
you know what? You can take my Hershey bar, but if you give it back to me, I'll even share it with you. So, like that as an innocent child, that was sort of, that is my innate being. That's my nature. Is that
Mm.
and you have to be really careful with business if you have that nature. And so what I've noticed is that I have attracted people who have a similar way. They have a goodness about them that is just inborn, like it's just something that they didn't curate. It just happens. So we have this group of people who are very kind-hearted, love to help others, and they just need a place to be able to put that and know they're not going to be taken advantage of, and learn how to use it to make their business grow.
Yeah.
It's very complex, actually.
Yeah, it is.
We keep it really lighthearted and fun,
Mhm.
and if you use it, as a structure of the parties, the hospitality, that is exactly what is inside all of us. We love to give to others, but then we also want to go, be able to build on it and grow something important and impactful, rather than just here and there throwing these ideas out. We want it to really make an impact through our influence. And so I love organizing these ladies and men that we have, and I take what I see. It's very, I don't want to say it's one-on-one, because there are, 80 of us. And so it's small groups. And I take what I see, whether it's their artistic ability, whether it's the products they provide, or whether it's the services they are providing people. And I look and see how we can put those together, whether it's like things all fit together very well. It's a hospitality driven, obviously. So you may have someone who sells table linens. We may have someone who does candles. We may have someone who offers a service of organizing. So we group all that. I have ladies who do fashion, who create their own dresses. I have ladies who own their own boutiques. So of course we all need a dress for a party. We need a hostess dress. So we can group that together. It fits really well into one theme of creating an experience for someone. And so they can collaborate together and make things. It's amazing. Like they're going off on the sides doing things together all the time. And it's so fun to watch. And then we can come together and continue to build. Oh, hey, they did this. Why don't you and so work together to make something else happen? And you just see all of these great ways of working together rather than working against each other. I really encourage people who have the same business to talk to each other. Yeah, like, because the way one person runs a boutique is going to be different than the way the other person runs the boutique, and there is always something to learn.
Yeah.
And if you can just break down those barriers, that fear of having a competitor, and realize that it's really a great place to learn from each other, and just let your guard down a little, and know that you have this area that you can talk with someone and learn. I'm a huge believer in surrounding yourself with people who know more than and it's not always about intellect. A lot of times it's about experiences. And so listen to those people who have already done something,
Yeah.
and then you have to learn how to do it. And just take it. And it doesn't, people want to copy sometimes exactly, and they expect the same outcome. So I try really hard to help people realize that do it your way, do something similar, but make it fit your specific message or your specific business. So I really do believe in being able to weave things together rather than trying to feel like you're knocking heads and having to outdo each other, because a rising tide lifts all boats.
Absolutely.
Huge believer. Like I was on Nantucket the first time I ever saw that, and I thought, if I could just get people to like do that, that would be my ideal. That would be ideal.
Yeah.
And so that is sort of where I keep that in the back of my mind. Like, and I try to continue to grow my business, and as I grow my business, I'd like to offer my group the opportunities that come my way. I want to extend them to them, and then let them grow their businesses as well alongside of me, so that we're all going forward, and ultimately being able to be kind in business and successful.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love everything about that. I'd love it, Lydia, if you have any advice. I'm sure that there are probably folks listening who are like, "Yeah, that all sounds great, collaborating with your competitors," but maybe still in the back of her mind, she's like, "Yeah, I don't know if I can trust that person." So, talk us through, what do you do when someone betrays that trust? I mean, what experiences have you had in terms of managing through that, and how did you react to it when someone either stole the idea or tried to completely copy what you were doing, or whatever the case may be, or maybe you saw that experience play out with one of your members?
That is such a great question because it
Mm,
happens all the time, and especially in the creative world, and especially while it's almost the Wild West in this creative world with social media and all of that. Like we all leave ourselves open to being copied all the time. Anytime you share something. And that has been a really hard. I do not like to be copied
yeah,
and ripped off.
no one does,
No,
right?
no one does. No one likes that. And it drives me bananas when I see it. And so, that goes back to morals and honesty and all of that. And so I have to constantly remind myself, okay, the first thing I do is when I see it happen, I tell myself we have different we have different values. We just do. I'm not going to change that person's values, but the way I react to it can help them see another side. And if I handle it professionally and tactfully and gracefully, then they can actually, in my
Mm,
mind, they're going to learn from it, hopefully. Sometimes that might be a little Pollyanna, but I definitely feel that the way you handle it can speak volumes for grace and tact. And so it's something that, first of all, there are so many layers to it. But first of all, I do believe in communication. You have to communicate. You absolutely have to say, okay, I'd like to bring you an idea. I want to share it with you in confidence. And then I would like for it to just be between us. And it would mean a lot to both of us if we can get like a
mm,
non-disclosure agreement signed so that we agree that I don't use your ideas in the way that wouldn't be best for you and vice versa. And
mm,
I've learned that the hard way. So that comes from the experience of knowing and doing it all wrong, completely wrong. And it's hard to see somebody take your idea. I will say, so I started a blog um, almost, I guess, 12 years ago. And now, at that point, it was also new, and Pinterest was brand new. And so we were doing all these amazing ideas with our children, with food and doing, it was just such a neat thing. And now to see people just going to Pinterest and saying, "Oh, I got this on Pinterest, and here, let me make a TikTok or a reel," and then they blow up because of someone's idea that we
yeah,
did 10 years ago is suddenly making them tons of money or tons of, that's hard for me. Like I have to just really talk myself through that. Like that's very normal to be
yeah,
like put off by that because deep down that was not their original idea. Um, and so you have to start also protecting the parts that you really want to
mm,
keep as your idea, the trademarks and all of that. Angie Avard Turner is someone who I rely on a lot. She's a lawyer for creative people in business, and so she's my go-to. And I talk to her a lot about ways to actually keep it
mhm,
legally uh, on the up and up because I want to be careful too. And it comes down to a lot of respect, sort of like back in the early days of all of this creative social media and blogging and stuff, we would say, I'm doing this, and the idea originally came from so and so, and and I was inspired to do this too. Well, now everybody's inspired by,
right,
everybody, but and then it always ends up like, oh, I got this on Pinterest. But do you know the person that actually put that on Pinterest? That's what I wish people would think. And a lot of times it's just a matter of not really know and not understanding. There's a person behind that Pinterest
yeah,
photo. And if you have to communicate. It's
yeah,
really communication and respect and having some value to it. I've even had really large companies grab an image. I had of a birthday party and use it to sell their
wow,
invitations. And that one was a hard one. And I was so proud of myself for I stood up for myself and I had them, remove it because you can't take somebody's photo and use it to sell your products. But people are like, I found it on Pinterest. Like it was gorgeous and I wanted to use it. Like you should be honored. No. I appreciate it very much. But then there's another step in there where you ask permission
Mhm.
and you also, you do what's right and you compensate the person if you're making a ton of money off of their photo.
Yeah.
Because the photo would lead to the invitation. The invitation had nothing to do with the photo.
How did the company respond? I'm curious what the outcome was and what they did about it. Did they ultimately compensate you, or did you come up with some kind of a contract for them?
Well, this was pretty early. This was before I met Angie, but
Mhm.
but I had them remove it from Pinterest. They were using it almost people will use my photos as an ad. Like they'll put it out as an ad and it will be my photo. And I guess people don't realize that you can search your photos. Like there's so much capability to search what you're doing. And then
Right.
so I could search my photo because this particular photo was, I always joke that it was my most stolen photo ever because it was always being used. So I just wrote them a nice letter, asked them to either credit me. I didn't even ask for compensation, but at least credit me and send them to my site because at that point I was running a blog and traffic was the gold. And so that was all I wanted. I just said, I
Right.
just want
Right.
you to, if you're using this, it has to go back to my site, not your site. And the original, the first person was very combative and like, you should be so grateful that we're even using this. I mean, it was a very large company,
Wow.
and and I know now that that company had just hired this person to run their social media. They were very fresh, like maybe even still in college
Mm.
running something and didn't fully understand the ramifications of it.
Mhm.
They only knew that they were running they were just finding pretty pictures and making their company money.
Yeah. Yeah.
so so as I went up the ladder to talk to different people, they became more understanding and they took it down.
Mhm. As you said, it's kind of like the Wild West, right? You've got it's it's a hard area to navigate, and if someone takes something that belongs to you and doesn't provide attribution for it, then what do you do? Do you go after them? And that's a challenge within a creative business, within a content business of any kind, whether it's what you're doing or what I'm doing. But it's an interesting question. But I love how you handled it. I love the fact that you sent them a nice letter, you know, and said, "Hey, this is my
Mhm.
property, and here's some things that we can do to resolve this situation." You didn't sue them. You were nice about it. Everybody has to pick their battles and decide
Right.
what's right for them. But
True. And it always goes back to, for me, it always communicate, like tell them, like, when you said like these are the things we can do to resolve this, let them know. Don't just send a, like a, and leave it open ended. Like here's my, this is my problem.
mhm,
Here's how I would like for this to be solved. And then if you, especially if you're working with someone and you realize that this is not going to work, then just go back to that. We have different values
yeah,
and those will not ever, they won't. So that's just your cue to exit stage and go and work with other people who do have them. So it's okay to cut the ties
yeah,
if it's not suitable, if it's not a match. So don't be afraid to move forward. That doesn't mean that you're going to like lose everything. Another opportunity will come along. You just
yeah.
have to be really honest with yourself about what matches up with how you do business and how someone else does business. And if it doesn't match, don't try to force that.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. I'd love for you to talk, Lydia, a little bit more about how you've structured the Supper Club. It's a membership organization, right? But with lots of bells and whistles. But maybe talk a little bit about how you structured it and why, and then a bit more about how you got started. Sort of what led you to create the Supper Club in the first place.
Okay. So first of all, the Supper Club started out as a membership, like you said. So people join the membership, and then each month we have activities, and it's a range of ideas that we do. But originally, it started more so as ideas for me to share about how to create an experience, and it's usually theme related. and it had to do with setting tables and flower arrangements and all of that. So that was wonderful and lovely. And then suddenly the people who owned businesses within that niche, like table linens and glassware, china, silver, all of the things, they started realizing how much they would enjoy that and how it would profit their business. And so it became this, really, we were half and half. Half of it was creative, half of it was business.
Mhm.
And so as that was sort of developing and evolving, I realized that I could really help the business side. I didn't know that they would want that. And it sort of surprised me. I knew I had all of that experience and knowledge, but I didn't know other people would be interested.
Mm.
And so as our conversations, we would have Zoom calls and I would teach ideas for a holiday or something, and suddenly the conversation would turn into more business.
Mm.
And so I really leaned into that because I love business and I love being able to help others. And I love also the fact that I it's hard to be nice in business and find people who are also going to be that way too. Like it's sort of that, it's just this it's a commonality that we share of trying to do it in a nice way without being that dog eat dog world.
Right.
And so I really love it. And so what has happened is that the supper club membership has become really strongly based with business. And we have a handful of people who are there just for the creative side, and we adore them. They support everybody. They are just everybody's best cheerleader. They want to buy everything they see and be the first people to know about the latest trends and the latest, products that are out. Um, but because of that side, for the creative people who don't own businesses, what I did was I pulled that out and created the party prep school.
Mm.
And so for those people who want to just do the creative tablescapes, party ideas, and all of the fun, just get your hands in there and make and create, I have the party prep school. And so that was my answer to being able to do both. And I keep the supper club membership, which is more of the business side. I keep that separate now from the prep school, and that way you can do so if you really want to come in and learn and just enjoy the party side of it, you can join the prep school. And if you want to do it, you get the prep school and the supper club within the supper club community. It's
Yeah.
much bigger and broader. So you get both in the supper club, but and it just overlaps so well. And I have my supper club members can come into the prep school and teach what they love and learn and know how to do. I rely on them with their strengths to come in and share, and they can teach a class. So for instance, we have Julie McAllister. She's an incredible cake
So talented.
baker.
Yeah.
Yeah, like she does amazing cakes. So each season she has done cakes for us that you can make easily at home. And so she does a class each time in the prep school. So I have two things, and that sometimes people, they say, which one? What is this? What is that? I'm doing a workshop next week to kind of help people see what the prep school is like.
Mhm.
And that is more of the creative side of it. And then if you have a business and would like to find your community that really supports it and helps you grow, and it's not like a quick fix, we really work together for like each, for months at a time. And it's a great group to find a common bond. This prep school is I'm a really big believer in having your creative side is so healthy for
Mhm.
you. And I think
Mhm.
that I've recently been helping my mom through some health issues. And what always brings her the most happiness is when I bring her something to do that's creative. And it just made me realize even more how important it is to do something that is creative, that lets you sort of express that. There's nothing better than to create this flower arrangement that you didn't know you could make, or to set a table and learn something new or different, or fold the napkins in a different way. Just little things, but they really do add a lot to your overall health
Yeah.
and happiness and just general just enjoyment.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of again, I just absolutely I love the psychology of creativity,
Me
and
too.
I think it's fascinating and it's so good for us.
Yeah.
So we have artists, we have all sorts of people that are part of the group. So yes, ask me any questions if it's not clear on which one is which. And, people, I'm always happy to talk with people one on one, or like they DM me on Instagram of which one should I be in, and, how do I do it, and how do I start? And as a whole, they both are two separate communities that are really fabulous for growth, whether it's creativity or whether it's creativity in business.
Yeah. I mean, I love everything that you just said, but what particularly resonates with me is how you talk about creativity. And I've come to think of creativity as something that you should do with intention and really think of it as an investment in yourself. It's a piece of my whole sort of influence framework, if you will, that you really have to be intentional about taking those actions. And it's part of why I wanted to join the Supper Club, both because you're amazing and I'd had an opportunity to get to know you through the Southern Sea, but also sort of thinking about intentional ways to really engage creatively in a space that I wasn't spending as much time. I don't bake particularly. I love to throw parties, but I'm not particularly good at putting all the pieces together. And so I get so much inspiration, and so much of my creativity, I find, is fueled through interaction with you and the members of this group. I don't get to participate as much as I would like, but what interaction I have had has been incredible. But it's that idea of really thinking about engaging in activities with intention that helps you unlock problem solving in other parts of your life or your business.
Yeah.
So I love that you tapped into that. And I think, your point about the psychology behind creativity is so powerful.
I know it's just like the tip of the iceberg too on what
Mm,
we're discovering about our brains. Thank goodness for imaging and all of that, that we can actually
yeah.
see where certain parts light up and things that connections that are made. And it truly is great for our health. And so for just our wellness and our happiness and our well-being. But I think that it is a great place to also, like you were saying, dive into your creative side, and you always get something. I have a friend
Mm,
who says if you get one thing out of what you do, if you just get one thing out of a class you take or a group you join, that in itself is worth every penny. Like you're just looking for that one thing that you can gain. So for you, you have such a busy schedule, but you are part of the group and you interact with us on the Instagram group chat, or we get together at the Southern Sea and we get to see each other, and it's just
right.
a connection that even if it's not a daily thing or even a weekly thing, we have this connection and this bond that we get it, we understand what it is, and then once you're in there, you kind of see and you have that camaraderie and that friendship and that business sense of helping each other. And
Yeah.
you get to know each other. And I create experiences for our group throughout the year. I call them soirees, supper club soirees. And they are really built for that so that we can get together and create. Like my main goal is that we get together and we create something. And so
Mm,
we've done them with Hoffman Media in Birmingham. We've done those that where we can literally we go in and we made biscuits, with Brian. We created flower centerpieces. We did a full tablescape setting that will be published in this upcoming year for
amazing.
yeah, we did tablescapes. I mean, everybody loves their dishes and bringing all the things and making and creating. And
Yeah.
we do a lot of that because I truly believe in the healthy effects that it has. And it also it breaks down, like we were all in different kitchens decorating cakes together and doing things. You get to know each other better. And then we also did one on Nantucket this summer, which was a small one, and it was phenomenal for me to be able to chat with people one on one and just learn a lot about each other. And we were constantly doing fun and creative things the whole time. So
Yeah.
I take the experiences and the people that sign up to go on them and the area that we are in, and I incorporate all of that to to put all the details in that will make those experiences something that will be useful, but also just great time together. And like you said, it just it just builds everybody up in a way that if nothing else, you have this wonderful group of people that you can kind of come and bounce ideas off of, or ask questions, or crowdsource just different things that you need. So
Yeah.
it's one of the best things I've ever created, that I am most proud of, and it's because of the people that are in it. It's phenomenal. Like, I tell people all the time, there's so much depth there, and it's hard to explain, but I mean, every single person that is in this group offers something really incredible, and, they
Yeah.
don't always know it, but as a group, we pull it out of them, and it's just I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
I love all of that. I love some of the things that I have really enjoyed about it too is having an opportunity to support other female entrepreneurs to buy and showcase their products, particularly showcasing them. I love to, there are so many of the Supper Club members that I have gotten to know personally whose products are meaningful to me. They're in many cases, they're handmade things. I like to talk about them on Instagram, and many of these people have joined me on the podcast, or we're planning to join on the podcast, and so it gives us a chance to really talk about female founders and female entrepreneurs and unique challenges that sometimes we face as women when we're starting businesses. And so I love that dimension of it as well. You do such a great job of showcasing the members, and encouraging them to showcase each other, which I think is a really
Well,
beautiful
thank
thing.
you, and thank you for noticing that, because it is really a core part of the whole reason.
Yeah.
It's just something that I always wish we as women could kind of get over that hump a little bit, and just embrace each other for our strengths and for the gifts we have, and then really help each other, rather than just sort of be feel like you have to be in there for yourself only. It's a different way of thinking sometimes. Like, I really do notice that some people they are kind of taken aback by it. Like, wait, what? Like, you actually want to help me? It's it's phenomenal, really. I see it a lot. And there's no hidden agenda. There's nothing there that's, wait, what's the catch? There's no catch. We really are. I really like. It's almost like a project that I really have an experiment to prove that we can actually be kind
Yeah.
and and do business. My father is very, very kind, and my mom too. But my dad has this, like, he always has said, kindness is not, it's not a single act. It's a lifestyle. Like, he has that hanging in his always had that hanging in his office. And I know that I inherited that. Um, I mean, I think I was raised with it, but I also know that it's just I inherited that part of him. And so, it truly does take a minute for people to realize that you can actually be nice to people, and you're not gonna, you're not going to keep yourself back if you're nice and you help the next person. You're really only going to advance everything. So, it's just a good life skill to be able to help people and be kind, and go with it, rather than feeling like you have to constantly fight for your place.
I think what you just said takes us right back to where we started with this conversation and this focus on influence. And I think the way in which you've illustrated this concept is just so beautiful. And I am so grateful for the time today. Thank you, Lydia, for being part of She Said, She Said.
You bet. And thank you for being part of the supper club and the prep school, and just being you.
My
You're
pleasure.
truly one of those people that I am so thankful that I've met, and I'm not
Mm.
just gushing for the sake of gushing. I truly, like, I value every minute I get with you, and I
Oh, you're so
appreciate you
sweet.
so much, Laura. So just keep doing what you're doing, because I follow
Oh.
and watch and love listening to the podcast, and also I'm already hoping that you're going to be at the Southern Sea this year, so we can
I am. Absolutely. Yes. We're gearing up as we speak, in fact.
I'm looking forward to giving you a big hug in person and actually getting a chance to talk again. So thank you so much for everything you do.
Thank you, Lydia. I appreciate it. Hey, friend, if you enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to let me know. You can share your feedback with me on Instagram or LinkedIn. You will find me at Laura Cox Kaplan, and you can direct message me right there. Or you can send me an email at info@shesaid.media. Again, that's info, I-N-F-O, @shesaid.media. Or better yet, you can leave me a review, which I would greatly appreciate. I would love to hear which parts of this conversation and of this podcast are resonating with you and are most helpful to you. As always, friend, I am so grateful that you're here, and I hope that you found this week's conversation a good investment in you. Remember, She Said podcast is a weekly production of She Said Media. You take care, and I'll see you again next week.